Welcome to the Marlene Saunders Show, where we have real talk, real conversations, and you're welcome to it. If it's your first time here, hit that subscribe button. I'd love to have you as part of the chat family. Now, everyone, welcome to episode number 1 of the Mawning Chat, because that's what we say in Florida. We say good morning. So I wanted to start this morning chat. We'll see how it goes, to see who wants to listen to this. I'm going to do like 30 minutes or so. But let's get right into today's discussion, today's topic. The topic today is, don't be mad when these children act up or they act out. Kids are going through too much already. You know, in school, they have to be a certain way. They're under all of this pressure to be the perfect kid, to be accepted. They're going through enough. They don't need all of this extra. And one thing that I see why kids act up these days is they have poor role models. They don't have good examples of uh, what it looks like to be an adult. You know, they're not seeing in their home good role models. The majority of kids these days don't have two parents in a home. They don't have their mother and their father. So they're already showing up not having something in their life, which they desperately need. These kids desperately need good role models. They need to have that type of support. Little girls need their mom, and these little boys, they need their father. And even if they have those things, so say that scenario is there, and these children have exactly what they need. But is it a good example? Kids need to see parents who are actually actively in the action of doing what they need to. These children, they need to see that. They need to see their parents, you know, doing well in their business or their jobs. They need to see parents who are educated. They need to see parents who actually have a life and they have other friends. They need to see healthy relationships. Because if a kid doesn't see healthy relationships at home, they're going to only listen to what the kids say. Love for children, it starts at home. Kids need to see at home, they need to see a loving environment. Because I'm telling you, this world will devour our kids. It will devour the kids. So these kids will have nothing. They have nothing and nobody to support them and to love them. So, of course, if these kids are not getting the love that they need, they're going to seek love on the streets. We see it all the time. These kids will get involved in gangs. They will get involved in all type of substances, and they'll go after that fast life. They'll go after the money. They'll go after the cars, and thinking they have to have the fancy clothes. They'll go buy the things of the world, the material things, the external, when children need to be taught, to have a good personality, to be a good person. All of those things are not taught on the street. Those are things that have to be nurtured on the inside. These kids have to be taught to love, to be a good human being. But they must see that in the home. If kids don't see in the home love, compassion, hard work, you know, the ability to start all over again, they need to see that, there's hard times, but they keep going. If they don't see that, they're going to follow whatever they see out in the streets, because a lot of time the streets are raising our kids. The streets are raising our kids. And if you don't see these good role models in the home, the streets will be their home, because the streets is the one feeding them, clothing them, showing them love, and giving them the thing that they need, because all kids need to feel like they belong to something. And the the home environment is not good, because to be good parents, these kids need to see that the parents have done some things. They have done some work on themselves, that they're committed to just being themselves. They're committed to the change, and they want better for their life. And that's the difference with most of these children. They don't see that. They don't see that good role model from parents. They don't see that the parents keep trying. And especially what these kids don't see these days is there's a lot of broken family relationships. There's no coming together within the family. All they see is toxic, all they see is anger. And the families don't get together, the families don't show love and kindness and consideration. See, I see it all the time when I was working in the school system. I saw these kids, they come to school, they're dirty, they don't have certain things, they don't have the clothing they need. Say it's the winter, these kids don't have jackets, they don't have good clothing, they're dirty, they come to school starving. See, the parents are not there, because those parents most times have to work, so they don't have time to be there for the kids. So these kids are raising themselves. Who is going to take care of the children these days? Who is going to support them and love them? And a lot of parents just say, I got to work. I have things to do. I don't have time to take care of my kids. Who is going to support these kids? If they don't get that support and love in the home, they're going to find that support and love in the streets or elsewhere. Somebody's got to love these kids, and they don't have a good role model. They have poor role models out there. And I find it to be one of the saddest things ever that these kids don't have good role models. They have no good role models at all. Nobody is loving these kids, nobody is there for them. And that's the thing. If you don't listen to your kids, somebody else will listen to them. And I'm just going to say it honestly. There's a lot of predators out there. They are waiting in the wings, hoping that they weren't taught things, that they weren't nurtured, that they weren't loved, that they weren't taught to, you know, be vulnerable. See, as adults, we have to prepare these kids that this world is vicious, that this world is evil, that there's going to be people just like that, and they're going to say X, Y, and Z. You got to prepare these kids for that. You got to let these kids know there's a lot of people out here, and they're going to prey on you as a kid. They're going to hope that you don't know certain things. They're going to hope that you don't love yourself. They're going to hope you're looking for love outside. See, if you don't have these kids already knowing what love is, already knowing that they're encouraged to be themselves. See, we have to let kids be kids. I know when I was growing up, I wanted to grow up so fast. And we see it all the time. These parents now, they're letting their kids be too grown too fast. You got them dressing like they're grown women or grown men. You're not letting them be kids. Get out there and play. And I know that everything has changed in this world, that it's not the way that it was 30 or 40 years ago. But it's a parent's job or it's a guardian's job to take care of the kids, to make sure that they get to enjoy their childhood. We have to let the kids be kids. We have to let the kids be who they are. And if you don't, there's going to be somebody out there waiting to prey on them, waiting to mold them. You have to teach the kids at home how to be an entrepreneur, how to work on their money management, how to be their own boss, how to do what they want to do. We have to encourage that ability, that it's okay. Whatever you do, you're going to be great at it. We have to instill that in kids. There's nobody that can give that to a child. Hey, Trish, welcome. Listening on my way to work. Awesome. Thank you so much. And I hope you're having a good morning. Welcome to the Mawning Chat. And I see it all the time. You have to give kids time to be kids. Let kids run around and play and be silly and work on their creativity, work on their art, nurture their talent. Because from a young age, you can see what kids have the ability to do. Let them learn how to play an instrument, teach them to swim, teach them many things. And also, it's very important to teach these kids the things that we didn't know. Teach them the things that, okay, I did this, and I don't want you to make the same mistakes. If you don't teach a child what you went through, the things that you grew from, you're going to have a cycle of kids doing the same thing, especially if you live in the same environment. Most likely, those children are going to be, they're going to be surrounded by the same things, the same ideas, especially if it's the same area, especially in urban communities. They're surrounded by a lot of things that's not good. They see a lot of things. They see when, the other people, they have money, they have cars, it's flashy, they're popular, but you got to tell them it's because of drugs, and it's because of X, Y, and Z, and that's the fast life. And this is what happens when you live that life. You go to jail, you break up your family. You have to teach the kids that it's not just everything that glitters is gold. And you got to teach them the consequences of the action, and teach them the things that you didn't know. We can't expect kids to know things. We don't want to just throw them out in this world, because this world will devour them. They will devour and eat our children alive. It's happening every single day. Every single day, our kids are being devoured by this society. We have to give these kids time to be kids, and not let them grow up so fast and think that everything is about money. And it's not. It's about the love that you have at home. It's about your family relationships. It's about nurturing who you are. And especially teach kids that it's okay to have your own thing. It's okay to do your own thing. It's okay to not be accepted. So that when they experience that as a child or a teenager or as an adult, they're going to say, I remember my mom, my dad, my auntie, my grandma, or whoever's raising them. They told me that there was going to be days like this. They we have to prepare our children for the future. We can't just push them out of the nest and expect for them to fly. We got to prepare these kids. And they just, I see all the time that they just send these kids to school and expect them to know how to have coping skills, how to know how to be a child. You don't surround them by any other children, and we expect them to have good social skills. These kids aren't going to have social skills if we don't teach them. You got to teach these kids, nurture that inside of them to be a good friend, to be honest. You know, I see it all the time. We think that, you think you're being a good parent by giving kids everything they want materially. Give them all the games, give them the shoes, give them this. And yeah, we want our kids to have more than we had. We want them to, every parent wants their child to have more than they did. But we can't just let it show them that it's easy. I want it, so I get it. No, make them work for it. Give them chores. Teach them hard work. Teach the kids that nothing you want will happen easy. That's what will make them be a productive member of the society, whether they choose to be an employee or a CEO. Teach them hard work. But also, they can't be robots. You can't keep these kids inside. That especially happened during this pandemic. They were shut in, didn't have any friendships on the outside. But we still have to teach these kids a normal part of life. Let them have fun, let them play, give them good friends, teach them what a good person is. And when they do good, encourage these kids. Don't just think kids have to constantly, everything, do as I say, do as I say. Celebrate these kids. Say, I'm proud of you when you did this, and you're a good kid. You're going to do something great in this world. Kids need to hear that at home. I'm proud of you. You're a great kid. You're going to be a great man, or you're going to be a great woman. I know you can do it. And tell your kids, I want you to be even better than I was. That's what we have to put out there in this world. Make your kids better than you were. Teach them about responsibility, accountability. You have to tell the truth. You have to be a good person and work hard. These things just don't happen. And I see all the time the adults, they get mad when their children act up. They get mad when they act out, when they have anger issues, when they're fighting, when they're doing wrong. But nobody gets to the bottom of it. And we see that there's jails full of those who never got past the age of a child. They never gained emotional intelligence. They don't know how to cope with life because they were not taught from their childhood how to cope. That it's okay to cry, that you need to learn to keep your hands to yourself, that you need to be accountable for your actions. All of that starts in childhood. In childhood, you have to teach kids. You got to mature. You got to grow up. You got to be a good person. You got to be a good individual, a good human being. But we must encourage our kids. You must encourage them, parents, anybody who is around kids, anybody in the education system. It's more than just parents that raise kids. It's good role models, it's good adults. And it does take community, and it takes a lot of work. We've got a lot of work to do to turn around things from how it is now. Everybody these days is in their own world, and it's just about their family. But other adults have to come together as well and not be at each other's necks, encourage each other as adults, respect one another, and not always be at each other's necks, you know? And we have to do that so we can feed inside of a child to dream big, to have anything that they want from when they're a child, so they can start dreaming. So they can start working on, this is what I want to do with my life, instead of making a child think that all I could ever be is a 9 to 5 person. That is what some children unfortunately are raised. See, that's how they're fed in this school system, to get out there and to get employment. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's nothing wrong with, if that's all a parent can do. It's nothing wrong with showing a child to have a 9 to 5, but also teach kids options. That's what's important. Teach kids that they have the option to want something different. They have an option to have their own business. They have an option to be, in the sports arena, to be a journalist, to work in TV, to be a ballet dancer, to do anything that they dream about, they can be. But if you don't talk to your kids, you got to talk to your kids. Ask them what's going on, even if they don't want to talk. Every night before they go to bed, in the morning when they wake up, you got to look at your kids. Pay attention to their body language. Are they sad? Are they upset? Are they angry? Are they going through something? Are they mean? Are they acting differently than they normally do? Pay attention to your kids, because if you don't pay attention to your kids, nobody else will. And if you don't pay attention to them, guess what? The streets will, other people will, other predators will. See, you got to celebrate your kids. You need to encourage them, and tell them you're proud of them. They're doing a great job. We have to do that. You have to. And if you don't, unfortunately, this world, this society will take them. This society will take your children and devour them. Hey, Lisa, good morning. Welcome to the Mawning Chat. This society will devour our kids. They will take our kids, and they will teach our kids through much pain, much regret, much sorrow, what their agenda is, what they want. And please teach your kids about these predators, and about that nobody should touch them. Teach them those things. Don't think that they're too young, that it will never happen to them. We have to understand that that is exactly what these predators want. We have to prepare our kids for whatever society may do to them. You don't know who people are. And it's the very people that we trust that will do it to them. Most of the sexual assault, the molestation, the rape happens from somebody that these children trust. And if we don't teach our kids about bad touch, nobody should be touching them, nobody should be suggesting to them to do certain things, nobody should make them feel uncomfortable. We have to empower our children. And if we don't empower the children, somebody is going to prey on their vulnerability. Somebody will. So that's why you can see these kids, they're angry, they're mad from a young age. We don't want children to go through things needlessly. We don't want children to have the life maybe that we did, but also protect them, protect their mind. Let them know that they can talk to you about anything, that is safe at home. This is a safe environment. Anybody that has done anything to you, even in your own family member, if anybody does anything, if anybody makes you uncomfortable, if anybody is not treating you right, if anybody is disrespecting you, and teach them what respect is. Teach them to respect other adults, but also teach them that if another adult says something that makes you not feel good about yourself, to tell me, as an adult, and I will take care of it. See, we have to protect our kids, or society will eat them alive. Yes, good morning, Uncle. How are you doing? Happy, was Monday morning? Yeah, happy Monday. Welcome to the first episode of the Mawning Chat. We have to do it for our kids, or anybody that we are taking care of, the special needs, especially. They're vulnerable because they're so open. They're so open, and they don't see dangers. As adults, we got to protect the kids. It's our job. It's our job to protect our kids. It's our job to teach kids. See, people think that when they get to school, that's where they get the education. No, the education comes at home, from the parents, from whoever is that child's guardian. We have to teach the kids about real life, about the conversations that we didn't have when we were growing up. We have to teach the kids that it's okay to cry, but they can't be vulnerable with everybody. They can't trust everybody. Everybody doesn't have their best interests at heart. Teach them to respect themselves. Teach them to have courage. Teach these kids that they can get up and they can go after anything that they want. Teach them to be strong, that life is going to be hard. You're going to have some financial difficulties. You're going to deal with some people who are vicious and evil. And we have to teach these kids to love on God. And I don't see this happening a lot anymore. These kids, they're not being taught any sort of spiritual support. So of course when they go through something, they have nothing to fall back on. Teach the kids that they're not alone in this world, that they have love at home, that they can talk about anything, that when they go through something, to lean on spiritual support, lean on themselves, teach them to be their own friend, that they don't need other people, to be a quality individual, but somebody's got to teach them. Somebody's got to foster it on the inside of them. We can't expect this world to raise our kids. And that's why these kids are mad. They have all these unresolved issues. They're seeing too much in the home. They're seeing negativity and arguing and fighting, disruption, poor communication, dysfunctional family relationships. They're not seeing, the hugs and hearing the I love yous. All kids, boys and girls, need to hear that they're loved. But all of that starts at home. So I say to you all, don't be mad when these children act up and act out. See, that love It must start at home. And it's up to the parents, not society, not the school system, and not the streets. Because if we don't teach and heal these kids and make them be okay at home, this world, the streets, will eat them up. And let's not raise another generation of kids to be bitter, angry, irresponsible. Teach them to love other people. Teach them to respect other genders. Teach them that the way they look is good enough. Teach them to be courageous and to not give up when they are met with obstacles. But all of that starts at home. You have just tuned in to the Good Morning Chat. Thank you so much for joining me. This is my 30 minutes. I'm out of here, and I will see you on the next Good Morning Chat. Those who are listening in the replay, leave me a comment in the comment section below. What do you think? Do you think that children these days are being encouraged to be their best self, or do you think a lot of work needs to happen? I love to hear from you. Thank you so much, everybody who tuned in live, and I will see you all on the next Mawning Chat.